a few questions.
Education, inspiration, Sahara TV, they get mouth, they get mouth. Hi, and welcome back to Sahara TV. We have Pascal Nokocha, who is a Nigerian African immigration lawyer and also vice chair of the American Immigration Lawyers Association. He's also the executive board in Minnesota. He joins us via Skype right now. Mr. Nukocha will impart some of his expertise stemming from the many years of experience as a practicing immigration lawyer in America. Among other things that he's going to do is he's going to highlight to us the American immigration system, obviously, which is broken, where too many employers are hiring undocumented workers, and at least 11 million people continue to live in the shadows. Mr. Okocha, welcome to Sahara TV.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Now, can you explain? There's been this leaked draft, or Plan B, as the White House prefers to put it, and according to the president, this immigration reform will help build a smart, effective system that will help secure the borders and crack down on employers who continue to hire undocumented immigrants. Can you please explain to us what this bill is like and how the benefits are going to be?
Yes, I certainly can. The proposed uh, bill, or at least it is still a secret now, not officially released from the White House, addresses three key components of the U.S. immigration laws.
Right.
Number one, it focuses on securing the border, which is a very important piece for some people in Congress, those who are more interested in border security. So the first piece of this legislation addresses that, trying to make sure we have a secure border. The second piece is try to address the 11 million or even more people who are in the United States in undocumented status.
Right.
It provides a mechanism for them to move from their illegal or undocumented status to legal status in the United States. And then the third piece of the proposal addresses a way for employers to verify and comply with existing laws, just to make sure we don't have problems where employers are violating the laws, hiring undocumented people. So those are the three pieces. We can talk more about any of them, but the thing I think a lot of people are interested in my view, is a way to get 11 million people in status and what benefits such proposal offers to our
Yeah, so
and
before we
citizens.
proceed to explain exactly the meaning of this bill, we know that there is a bipartisan group, about 8 senators, who are from obviously the Republican and the Democratic parties, and they've come together and obviously declared their support for this kind of bill. But then Senator Mark Rubio actually said this bill is dead on arrival. So let's say that this bill does not go through Congress and it fails. Are there any other prospects of which this could go to
Well,
address this?
I think the nature of the American democracy is that neither the president nor people, Republicans or Democrats, will get everything they want. Like, the way we look at it is this is a proposal, and we're hoping that somehow between the proposal from the White House, the proposal from the Gang of Eight, out of those, something can be put together that will satisfy the interest of all parties involved. I think we are very confident and we are cautiously optimistic that this year may be the year of immigration reform. I know we've had false starts back in 2001, back in 2006, 2007, and now sometimes it seems like a broken record. But I think the stars are aligned, and with what happened with the last election, the Republicans have seen the need to advance immigration reform, and we're seeing some people who otherwise would have been opposed to these moves coming out and supporting immigration reform. So we are confident. Now, in the meantime, there are things that are working. There are things that the president has done to at least change some of the policies. Last year, we had the DACA, which is the Deferred Action for to get children who came here in unlawful status or who've been here unlawfully to get them status. So that started back in 2012. And as of last week or so, they say that they have had about 90-something thousand applicants and a huge number of people who have gotten status through that procedure. So that is one way. There is a procedure that goes into effect March, actually goes into effect in 2 weeks' time.
So
on March 1st.
Before we proceed, I just want you to break it down for us, because this is what's going to be called a lawful prospective immigrant status. I'm going back to the Plan B. Can you explain what this means to the ordinary immigrant who, let's for instance, has been paying his taxes or might not have been paying the taxes, but also, you know, undocumented? So when this goes through, what are the expectations? What are the benefits of this, and how long are we looking at in terms of period in time of the bureaucracy for somebody to really achieve or benefit from that?
Well, this is a dream, but let's assume the proposal goes into effect the way the White House has drafted it.
Right.
What it does is it covers principally everybody who is here in unlawful status.
Right.
So if you have some sort of status, you're not covered, whether you're here as a visitor, as a student, or any other non-immigrant status, you're not covered. But those, if you're here unlawfully without status, it covers you. It confers you what they have called LPI, which is some sort of status for people who are prospective immigrant, lawful prospective immigrant.
Right.
Gives them status. It allows them to, first of all, you get work authorization. If you have emergency, you can travel and go home while your petition is pending.
For a certain period of time, I hear.
Yes, on each occasion, you can't be gone for more than 6 months, but it allows you to travel while your petition is pending. And the most generous part of it is that if your petition is granted, you are allowed to petition to bring in your spouse and children into the country.
Regardless of how old they are, is there age limit in terms of the children?
The way the immigration laws, whenever they talk about children, they refer to anybody who is under the age of 21 and who is unmarried. So it covers if your spouse and then you have children under the age of 21, you are covered under this proposal. So if you think about it, if you have some of our folks from Africa who are here, whether you came as a student many years ago and you've not been able to go back, or whether you came in here as a visitor for one reason or another, you did not go back, or whether you came in here even applied for asylum and it was denied, this offers you a path that will allow you to get yourself out of the shadows of illegal status.
What will happen to those, say, who have had infractions with the law in their past and most probably cleared or served their time or did something? What will be their perspective?
What the law has done, or at least what the proposal contemplates, is there are those who are barred from getting status. If you have what we call aggravated felony, for instance, you've had serious crimes, whether it is murder, serious assault charges, robbery, those serious aggravated felonies, and it's a very broad category of what aggravated felonies are. Those are prohibited. Now, the good thing is, under this proposal, there is an effort to tighten the definition of aggravated felony, because unfortunately, the way it has been in the last several years is that it is so broad that it covers a lot of crimes, okay?
Right.
But the proposal has tried to do is try to limit it so that aggravated felony actually means aggravated felony.
Right.
Otherwise, you have people who have some minor crimes that are considered minor under state law, but because of immigration laws, they are considered aggravated felonies and are otherwise on they can't benefit from
Okay.
immigration.
Now, obviously, there's going to be financial responsibility for this application to go through. Do you have a basic window at which people can expect to be paid?
Well, at this point, the proposal again does not have the specific figure. Now, there is a $250 fee they talk about in the proposal for those who are filing for relatives, but it leaves it up to the Secretary of the DHA of Homeland Security to uh, specify the fine and the fees for applying for either LPI status or any other application anybody may want to file. So right now, it says there's going to be fee. It doesn't tell us exactly what that fee is going to be, except for a reference to $250 fee, which at this point, we're not exactly sure whether it only applies for when you're filing for a relative who is overseas or not. So there will be fee, but those things are yet to be worked
If you
out.
just had to take a wild guess, where would you fall in the range?
Well, I think since I've been doing this for several years, if we
Right.
go by what happened back in 2001, actually December 2000, when we had the last 245I legislation, the fee was $1,000, which if each person, if you want to benefit after being here unlawfully, you pay that $1,000 penalty. I can imagine in an attempt to at least mellow down the anger on the right, there may be attempts to increase that fee to maybe $2,000 if that's what it takes. But at this point, we will be speculating. But I think it will not be less than $1,000. It may actually be more. I also expect that anybody who has been working and has not been paying their taxes will
Right.
have to back, file their taxes, pay whatever they owe to the government.
So is this going to be some kind of arrangement, or they'll say you owe us $10,000, bring the 10,000, then we start your process?
Oh no, I think so long as you again I'm going by the practice what we experience today. If you have an arrangement with the IRS to pay their fee and they show that there's a concrete effort to make those payments, I would expect that that would be enough. But again, with the nature of legislation, there will be back and forth, and we don't know exactly where it will end up.
Say this reform is passed, say it is passed, and there are those that have already been granted, say, green cards, and obviously the green card has an expiration date, and maybe it falls close to that expiration date. Is this going to affect them in any way in terms of applying for citizenship?
I can pretty much tell you that it will be unlikely there will be any effect. If you have your green card and the card is expiring, all you have to do is just
renew
pay the fee, file it from I-90 just to renew your green card. So I don't think there will be any effect on anybody who is legal. What this proposal addresses are for those who are here unlawfully, those who are here illegally, those are the ones who will be affected.
I see. So if you ever have to advise a friend, a family member, or somebody to take advantage of this bill, what would be the best advice you'd give them in preparation or in anticipation of being a prospective applicant?
We get a lot of calls at the office. We get a lot of email inquiries about these proposals. What should I do? What should my family do? And what we tell people is just, again, we say, look, if you make sure you keep yourself clean, avoid any infractions, if you make sure you don't have any violations of the law, it is important if you get yourself, unfortunately, into any problem, make sure you talk to an immigration lawyer in addition to your criminal defense lawyer.
Right.
To make sure that whatever deal, whatever plea you enter will not be one of those that will impact your ability to stay here. We're also telling people if you've not been paying your taxes, if you've been working and getting your papers from your employer, start making arrangements. Put your papers together. If you have W-2 forms, if you can't find them, get those. Look for your employers and ask them for those documents.
We have a lot of African immigrants that we know that obviously work and get paid under the books, and they've done that for years. Let's
Yes.
say nannies, let's say babysitters, actually they're called, people that take care of old people in their homes, and they've been obviously deprived of all these benefits, but also because they're working off the books, have not been contributing in paying taxes. So is it not too late to then suddenly say, okay, I want to apply and start paying taxes?
No, no, I don't think it's never too late. In this country, one of those axioms is Uncle Sam wants his money.
Right.
Okay, so whether you worked illegally in this country or however you earn your money, Uncle Sam wants a piece of it. And I can imagine if they have a record that you worked here, you'll be required to pay taxes. I suspect, though, that if we have situations where people are not working or there is no record of any employment in the United States, they can come forward and say, well, I relied on family or friends for support. I don't think that is going to be a big issue. But if you ever have received W-2s or 1099s from your employers or people you contract with, we tell people just to play by the books of this country. Just pay your taxes.
One more question before we leave. There's been a lot of deportations under Barack Obama's presidency. Do you know or do you understand why this has happened that way?
It is shocking when you see the number, 400,000 a year. It is amazing that this president has